Hello there. I hope you are having a fantastic week and prepared for a wonderful weekend. I'm doing great. I'm down here in the Dominican Republic, taking a little break from Tanglewood. I have to renew my tourist visa every 90 days. That used to be easy back in the days when people could just get on an airplane and travel. I used to do lecture tours every time we had a break. Now that's not so easy to do. So I'm down here just to relax, enjoy the beach, catch some waves. I'll be going off to body surf as soon as I'm done my last call today. Uh, Eating some watermelon on the beach and enjoying life in paradise. So good to see you, Toby. I see you're here. Good to see you here. My soul, go Rocky. Nice to see you all. Oh, I see that's not going to work. I'm blocking my view of the comments. So I'm going to have to figure out a different place to put my phone. There we go. Hang on. Hadn't worked this out too well beforehand, so we're doing it right now. Okay. Almost there. For those of you requesting to be in the live video, the way to make that happen is to schedule something in advance. If you've got an audience, I would be happy to arrange to do something with you. Okay? Otherwise, it's probably not going to happen today. Okay. So there we go. So I can see Flyer's question now. Hi, Lauren. If I eat many best, ripest pineapples, I feel I need them. Is teeth decay like lemon does possible? I like it with papaya or avocado to minimize bromelain effect. I carefully pick them. Thanks. Okay, I don't know where you live, but pineapples are non-climacteric fruits, which means they don't ripen after they're picked. And so if you're living in some place where you can't get ripe pineapples, in other words, where they don't grow ripe pineapples, that probably means the pineapples were picked before they're never going to ripen, and that means that their acid content is high. So you want to be very, very careful. Obviously, picking ones that are more ripe is the answer. The problem is if you're living someplace far from where pineapple, virtually always going to be unripe. Okay, that's just what happens. Mihai, hello, how are you doing? Thanks for inspiring. I'm doing great. Thank you very much. I hope you're doing well as well. All right, Celia's here. Hello there. Krasimir, nice to see you. Kurt Schaefer, good to see you here. Never oppose Nirvana. Who would ever oppose Nirvana? Source Talk is here. Good to see you guys. All right. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's Maya, but I don't know if maybe it's Maha. I'm guessing Maya. Maya says, I just want to say I'm looking so much forward to fasting with you. We're looking forward to having you with us. I know that's going to be coming up soon, and looking forward to seeing you too. Amir, good morning. Good morning to you, sir. Jackoff says, proud days in Canada, beautiful things happening with the trucks. Not sure if you know. I do indeed know. I stay pretty well on top of what's going on around the world with regard to the amazing fraud that's been perpetrated against humanity. And so I'm aware there is a giant convoy of some 70,000 trucks in Canada protesting. I'm glad to see that. Okay, love yourself first. Hi, Loren. What's the best water to drink if fasting at home? Well, regardless of where you're fasting, you should be drinking clean spring water. Okay. And if you don't have a spring nearby, a clean spring, because spring, water coming out of the ground isn't necessarily safe to drink. We've polluted a lot of the planet's groundwater. So the fact that something comes out of the ground doesn't necessarily mean that you should drink it. But if you can get clean spring water nearby, fantastic. If you can't, then the next best option would be to buy spring water in glass bottles. Okay, that's the very best you can. We're never going to improve on nature. The perfect water coming out of the ground that every other species thrives on. I mean, people are making arguments for drinking distilled water and other things, but understand that there's 250 million animal species on the planet. What do? They go and get the the water coming up out of the ground from springs, in streams. And as long as it's clean, that's perfect. We cannot do better than that. We don't have to worry about inorganic minerals. In fact, we need those inorganic minerals in the water. Okay, we need them. All right. Good morning, Neil. Good to see you. Flash says, yes, Thailand, those pineapples are pretty good. Sure, absolutely. If you're in Thailand, you should have no trouble getting good pineapples. All right, Jonathan says, you're the best. Any advice for neuropathy from diabetes? Well, yeah. I mean, Jonathan, regardless of why someone has neuropathy, in fact, regardless of almost whatever is going on, the very best thing that you can do is to give your body the optimal conditions to cleanse and heal. And how we do that is by fasting long enough and properly, because our bodies are self-healing organisms like every other organism, and fasting simply provides the optimal conditions to cleanse and heal the body. Okay, so regardless of what the original cause is, that's what I would be doing. Okay, that's the thing to do. Oh, is fasting a bad idea if your hair is falling out in clumps? Nope. Elia, fasting is the best thing to do regardless of what's going on, because it simply gives your amazing body the optimal conditions to cleanse and heal. Okay, so there's a reason that your hair is falling out in clumps, or someone's hair is falling out in clumps. There's a reason for that. And whatever the reason is for that, we want to do what we can to allow the body to address the underlying cause of the problem. Fasting is the best way to allow the body to heal under any circumstances. Okay, that's all we're doing with fasting, is getting out of the body's way as significantly, effectively, and efficiently as we possibly can. All right, we have a super chat here, which I'm going to come to in just a moment. I'm going to respond to Never Oppose Nirvana's comment here. Good morning, Loren. Shalom here. Keep spreading the word as usual. Okay, will do. Absolutely. Thanks so much for your comments and for being here. I'm glad to see you. Angry Minpin is here with a $50 contribution. Thank you so much. And says, hi, Loren. Hope all's well. It's always refreshing to watch your videos and live streams. Thank you for sharing your time and knowledge, all the good vibes. Thank you so much. It's very generous of every week and support what I'm doing here. I appreciate that very much. I wish you the best vibes as well. And thanks for your kind comments. Michai has made a €5 contribution, said, can we get too much potassium from coconut water, for example? Thank you one more time. Well, theoretically, it's possible, but it's really difficult to do. Your body has the ability to excrete excess potassium. Unless there's a problem in the body, it's pretty hard to wind up becoming hyperkalemic, which is excess amounts of potassium. And that's because the body is very efficient at getting rid of it. In fact, we find fairly strong, high amounts of potassium in many of the things that our bodies are really made to consume. And so bananas and papayas and watermelons and avocados and many other fruits, coconut water, all contain fair amounts of potassium. That's no problem. Okay, shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. Let me come back over here to Instagram, where we have Kurt Schaefer, who says, hi, Loren, question I believe I know the answer to. A relative had surgery to remove a tumor on his pineal gland, and all apparently went well so far. But would fasting have eliminated the tumor? Okay, well, that's a great question. Kurt, thanks so much for showing up and asking that. Here's the thing about that. We don't know. The bottom line is that fasting does allow the body the optimal conditions to get rid of anything that doesn't belong. And so we see tumors and fibroids and all kinds of lipomas, all kinds of growths disappearing. However, fasting doesn't guarantee the elimination of those growths. Why not? Well, because it depends entirely on the body's ability to get rid of that growth in real time. So each situation is different. It's entirely possible that in one case, the body will be able to do that. In another case, it won't. We can't really know that in advance. But here's the thing. The tumor isn't the problem. Okay. Unfortunately, medicine acts like it is. So they've eliminated, I think you said it was a relative. I was going to say a cousin, but you said relative. Yeah, they've eliminated your relative's tumor. Fantastic. Okay. But the tumor is actually a symptom of a problem. Okay. It's caused by toxicity and poor immune function. Those two things coming together. Because if it's just toxicity, but there's significant immune function, the body can still eliminate the cancer cells as they form. Uh, we wind up with a tumor when the body can't eliminate those cells as they form. And that's the poor immune function side of it. It's the toxicity side of it that causes the problem, but the poor immune function that prevents the body from eliminating it, from dealing with it as it arises. And so while the tumor may be gone, without addressing the underlying conditions, the underlying cause of the problem, what's most likely to happen is that it comes back. And this is a sad fact. I mean, this is what happens over and over again to people who wind up with medical treatments for cancer. They wind up having a recurrence because they didn't at all, in any way, shape, or form, address the underlying cause of the problem. Okay. In life, in general, and certainly in health, we have to address the cause of a problem. If we're addressing symptoms, we're treating symptoms. We're not creating health. Health is when only happens when we address the underlying cause of the problem. So it's entirely possible. I just a week ago, I had a call a week ago with a woman, happened to be last Thursday, and she fasted with me last session, came in with a tumor in her breast and had a scan last week. Tumor's completely gone as a result of fasting. Okay. That happens. It happens all the time, but it doesn't happen every time. We can't guarantee that that's what would have happened. Still, while fasting, your body is doing two things. It's getting rid of the tumor to the extent that it's able to, but it's also addressing the underlying issues, the underlying problems. In other words, it's eliminating the cause of the problem so that cancer doesn't come back, assuming, of course, that people consistently make excellent choices. If one goes back to making relatively poor choices, they're going to recreate the same situation, most likely. But it's so critically important to remember that it's one thing to address the symptom. It's a completely other thing to address the underlying cause of the problem. All right, that's what it was. Um, Charlie says, hello. If more people were 100% committed to what they're doing like you, the world would be beautiful. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for such a kind uh, comment. I appreciate that very much. I am indeed committed to what I'm doing. I would love to see more people, passionate and committed to doing what they believe is the best that they can do with their time and energy. That's what I've always tried to do, or at least most of the time. Not in every single moment of my life, but okay. Ronson says, hi, Loren. I completed a 20-day water fast, sipping 4 liters a day, and my eyesight improved. When I started refeeding with juicy mangoes, my eyes got worse again. Why did this happen? Um, I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, there isn't enough information there to understand exactly what's going on here. And it's entirely possible, Ron, that you didn't actually meet your body's needs, that you needed to fast longer, that you needed to drink more water. 4 liters isn't the right amount of water. 4 liters is the minimum amount for most people, but it varies from person to person. The only way to actually know how much water one needs is to properly interpret daily vital signs. Something I worked out how to do 20 years ago. You can't just assume that 4 liters is the right amount for you. So there's no way to know. It's entirely possible that what happened when you start eating is you began reabsorbing toxins from what's inside your digestive tract, and that once you've eliminated all the old waste, your eyesight will improve again. Okay, that's probably what will happen. But honestly, fasting without having experienced guidance, it's not the wisest thing that you can do. You're guaranteed much better results with guidance, and it's the best investment that you could make. Okay, and for anyone that says, "Yeah, but I can't get to Costa Rica," folks, I come to you. Okay, 3 or 4 calls every day, group calls with people fasting all over the world. It's not expensive. There's a payment plan, and you're guaranteed to be as safe as possible and to get the best results possible because I know what's going on. I understand what the process is meant to look like. All right, Path to Wellness is here and has made a $4.99 contribution. Thank you so much. Saying thanks for all you do, and I'll be there to fast someday. We will be here whenever you're ready. We're looking forward to seeing you whenever that time comes. Thanks so much. Okay. Better Thinking says, I'm 16, living in a household with many non-believers. What would you suggest I do to make the most out of this situation? Okay, well, unfortunately, as a minor, you may have limited ability to choose what you can and can't do. So, what I would encourage you to do would be to make the best choices possible, the ones that you're able to make. If you, I mean, obviously at 16, you can, I don't know where you are. I suppose if you're in some place that's still locked down, you might not be able to do this. But if you can get out for your meals, you should be able to eat what you want at least once or twice a day. Fasting might be a difficult thing to do without parental consent at your age, which means you might need to wait 2 years. In the meantime, what you can do, what everyone can do, is to meet all of their body's needs, okay, as well as nature intended, with the exception of fasting, which means you can make sure you're getting enough sleep on a consistent basis. You can make sure you're getting enough exercise and activity on a consistent basis. You can do your best to get enough sunlight. I realize if you're not in the tropics, as I am, that's going to be difficult at various times of the year. But make sure you're doing everything you can to maximize what you're able to get as much as possible. You can keep your diet as clean as possible. Again, given the limitation of not having perhaps complete control over what's in the house and what you're able to eat, you do the best you can. You can make sure that you're sipping 3 to 4 liters a day of water, clean spring water every day. Okay. You can find ways to deal with your emotions. And perhaps you can start to share information, videos, written material with your parents, and maybe begin to help them see that their conventional paradigm doesn't hold much water. Okay? Doesn't hold much water. Okay, I hope that helps. All right. Lao Tzu has said, are parasites really a problem? I don't think anyone can eliminate all of them. Um, well, parasites can indeed be a problem, and but again, it's not really the parasite that's the problem. That's like saying a bad bacteria is the problem. It isn't. The problem is the condition of the system, of the organism. Okay. If your body is toxic and dehydrated and not functioning very well, then you're going to invite parasites in. If your body is healthy enough, it should be able to destroy those parasites as they show up. And so you won't have a parasite problem. I mean, not to say there won't be some parasites, but it won't be a problem. Because I mean, I agree that there are likely parasites everywhere, and that may not be an issue. But it can be a problem. Absolutely. There are people who are very sick because of parasites. And well, they were already sick, toxic, dehydrated, etc. But the parasites can indeed contribute to the problem. And so, the thing to do is to give your body the very best chance to cleanse and heal itself in every moment. That's going to be the very best that we can do. And then, consistently make the best choices that you can. Okay. Skytree Girl is here. Hello there, Skytree Girl. Good to see you. Super Eric, heart right back at you. Super Eric says the water fast help to get rid of a 7.5 centimeter ovarian cyst? No, unfortunately, fasting can only handle cysts up to 7.45 centimeters. No, of course, I'm kidding, Eric. Yes, as I said a little while ago, maybe you weren't here. Fasting allows your body to get rid of anything that doesn't belong there. Now, again, there's no guarantee that it can always do that, but it's the best way to do that naturally, right? Your body is capable of getting rid of this stuff, and fasting simply allows us to get out of its way. So if I had a 7.5 centimeter ovarian cyst, I would definitely be I'm relatively certain I don't. But if I did, I would definitely be fasting. No question about it. It's the most efficient and effective way to let the body do what it needs to do, including getting rid of something toxic that doesn't belong there. Okay, so it's definitely what to do, no question. I like things says looking forward to fasting there sometime in the future when I have sorted out my finances. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll listen again. We'll be very glad to see you whenever you're ready. In the meantime, remember I can guide you through the process remotely as well. It's definitely easier, I think in many ways better at Tanglewood if you can get there because you're in a whole community of like-minded people in a beautiful environment that's specifically set up and designed to support you through the process. But if you can't get there for whatever reason, there is another way to do it. Okay. Recovery 21 says, Lauren, please shed some light about eating disorders as anorexia, bulimia, laxative abuse. I hurt my guts with laxative abuse and bulimia. Help me find a way to heal. Okay, well, the way to heal is through fasting. Okay, no surprise here. I've been saying the same thing because fasting simply allows your amazing self-healing body the optimal conditions to cleanse and heal. And so fasting is the way to heal regardless of what the situation is. Again, I can't make a prescription here, but if you're, any of you that are dealing with issues and you want to talk about the specifics of your situation, message, we can talk about what's going on for you. Obviously, each situation, there's a reason this is how we get out of the body's way so that it can cleanse and heal as efficiently and as effectively as possible. These eating disorders can be incredibly harmful to the body. And so, anyone dealing with these things, first of all, it's important to understand that while there are physical ramifications of these conditions, these are emotional conditions. Okay, these are conditions that require emotional help, and fasting is an amazing way to deal with some of the emotions, but it's not the only tool. And you may want to seek, if you haven't already, you may want to seek some counseling, some help to deal with the underlying emotions that had you abusing laxatives. Okay, but fasting, getting the toxic garbage out of your body has a huge impact on how well you feel emotionally. And so we see huge shifts for most people emotionally and psychologically simply as a result of fasting. Okay. Uh, okay. I think what you mean is ankylosing spondylitis. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But yes, this would definitely help him. No question about it. Okay. Hello, Miss Rosita. David Bear, Tendencia Oficial. Good to see you all here. Pluto Jim, good to see you. Ian, 44 is here. Hello, Ian. I hope you're doing well. I hope life is treating you well over in Asia. All right, let's take a look at the next question here. Oops. Okay, so Stevie, I see your request. Anybody else that would like to join me here in this live video, it's probably not happening. But if you want to schedule something, that's a possibility. If you have an audience, I'd be very happy to come onto a broadcast with you that you organize and market to widen the number of people that see what I'm offering here. So if you're interested in making that happen, feel free to reach out to me and we can definitely make that happen. Okay, Keely is here. Thank you so much. This was so encouraging. Definitely will be taking these steps. That's fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that. And it's amazing at 16 that you are already thinking about these. At 16, I was so unconscious. It was unbelievable. I had no idea about most of these things. And I think you're really in an amazing place, given that you're doing what you're doing at this point of your life already. Okay, that's fantastic. All right. Let's see here. I'm just going to plug in. So I see my battery's getting a little low. Okay. Hi, Lauren. I hurt my guts with laxative. Can a juice fast be a good way to help my guts? I'm eating raw food in my diet as well. I am not a fan of juice fasts. Juice feasts really would be a better way to say it. Juices are overly concentrated, largely oxidized, unnatural, fragmented substances and don't belong in the body. So the thing to do would be to water only fast. It's hundreds of times more powerful than drinking juices. Okay, it's hundreds of times more powerful. All right. How do you build white blood cells for better immunity? Well, what you do is you create the conditions for your body's immune function to be optimized, and fasting does that for you. Okay, you get enough sleep, you get enough exercise, you get enough sunlight, you eat as close to optimally as possible, and then you don't have to worry about trying to build white blood cells, because that's something your body does. It's not something you have specific control over. Okay, that's the way to do that. M. West says, hi, do you believe in intermittent fasting? Well, I hate the term intermittent fasting, but yeah, I typically eat twice a day, usually between around 2 and 6. I've been doing that now for close to years. I long before the term intermittent fasting ever existed. It makes sense to eat no more than necessary. One of the things that pretty much everyone interested in longevity, the researchers in longevity can agree on, is that the less we eat, as long as we meet our body's needs, the less we eat, the longer we live. Most people eat way too much, and eating all day dramatically increases the likelihood of that. And even if we're eating the same number of calories, but we're doing it spread out over the course of the day, what happens is we keep our digestive tract working all the time. I'd rather have my digestive tract resting the vast majority of the time. Okay, and so that's going to be the way to do that. All right, by eating fewer meals and keeping your meals to a relatively small feeding window. It's not that time fasting, 16 hours or whatever it might be, is particularly powerful. It's not. Okay, it's not that time is particularly powerful. It's not. It's that no one should be spending most of the day processing food. We want to be spending most of the time resting the system. Okay. Share the Mystery says, I have parasites, juice cleansing now to get rid of mucoid plaque, depressed. Well, again, water only fasting done properly is at least 100 times more powerful. Okay. So contact me. I would not recommend the drinking juices, especially with parasites, but with it for any reason, really. I mean, this is not the thing to do. Hello, Deborah. Good to see you here. Auntie Kobanov, good to see you. Gabby, good to see you here. Okay, and many others. Sarah Ikulup, I'm probably murdering your name if that's what that is. Sorry about that. You're very welcome, Kurt. Good to see you. Okay, let me scroll back over to the other side, or come back over to the other side here and see what we've got. Are you vegan? Yes, I'm raw vegan for over 30 years. Why doesn't water fasting? Well, it can. First of all, I mean, technically, water fasting doesn't fix anything. Your body is self-cleansing and your body is self-healing. These are biological processes. Okay, what fasting does is it allows us to get out of the body's way efficiently and as effectively as possible, so the body has all of its energy available. But I'll be 61 in a couple months. I've got male pattern baldness. It's genetically inherited. As far as I know, there's nothing we can do about it. Giving my body the chance to cleanse, and it's not about cleansing and healing. It's about changing my genes. Fasting isn't going to change my. And by the way, I mean, I have hair, just not so much of it. I have a lot more forehead than I used to have. I have a lot less hair here than I used to have. But fasting is as likely to change this situation as it is to change my skin color, my height, my gender, my eye color, etc. These are all things that are genetically determined. Okay, we're not going to change them by fasting, and we're not going to change balding either. Okay. All right. Will fasting help with tinnitus? Yes, it often does. Tinnitus can be a difficult situation because there are underlying issues there that have to be dealt with. We can't hear you now. Are you still not hearing me? Okay. Let's see if there's other people saying the same thing. No sound. Okay, no sound. All right. Well, sorry about that. I guess I said something to piss off Instagram. And that means, yep, go to YouTube. If you can't get me on it, oh, well, you can't hear me anyway. So, Instagram, since we've got no more sound. Okay. Well, that makes it a bit easier to focus on one screen instead of two. Is elimination after fasting the most important part of healing, or is the healing happening during the fast? Healing is happening during the fast. The elimination of old mucoid plaque, which only occurs for most people after the process, after fasting during their feeding process, is also very important, but it's only one aspect of the process. There are many different aspects of the process. Hello there, Isaac. Tajave Ford says, how soon after a successful 30-day fast can I do another one? I would encourage you to wait at least 6 months, and I would encourage you to never do that without having experienced guidance. Okay, however successful you think it was, I promise you it would be much more successful with someone who truly understands the process guiding you through it. Okay? Ramon Carrillo says, I love your work. I'm looking forward to a consult in a remote fast soon. I currently practice intermittent fasting, usually having an eating window of 4 to 6 hours each day. Thanks for all you do to promote real health. You are so welcome, Ramon. I'm so glad to hear that you're doing as well as you're doing. Obviously, you've made some great choices. Restricting your feeding window to 4 to 6 hours a day is a great idea, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. For anyone just joining me, the more hours your digestive tract is having to process food, the less time it has to cleanse and heal, the less time it has to rest, the more energy is being used by the body just to take in food. And we don't need to do that. We can easily get our needs met in 4 to 6 hours a day. Okay. Again, most people could do well eating far, far less than they currently do. Most of you would be shocked by how much I eat on average. It's, between 1,000, 1,200 calories most days. Some days are more, some days much less. We don't need nearly as much as most people think we do. Okay, we don't less food. Where'd you go? There we go. A while, but I'm back. Praise God, and I'm grateful that we're still doing these lives. Yep, I think it's 6 years now, roughly. I've been doing this every week. Bear with me. I came to YouTube because the sound is gone on Instagram. Yep, I saw that. Thank you. Love you too. Thank you so much. I think I owe you a message. I have to check. The issue is I'm actually returning to Tanglewood around the 12th or 13th. But yeah, I think one of those days we can probably make something work. I'd love to do it with you. All right. I like things. This feed keeps breaking up. It's probably not my end since I'm on a fast corporate network. Yeah, I'm at an apartment in the Dominican Republic close to the beach, and the Wi-Fi here sucks. And so I came here because they promised excellent Wi-Fi, but they lied. It's not very good. So I'm doing the best I can, but it's not that great. All right, we have a super chat I'm going to jump down to. Let's see here. Kurt Schaefer has made a $9.99 contribution. Thank you so much. And I see Tony Jansen here says, hi, Loren, will fasting help eliminate symptoms of fasting? Exactly. Should work. Yeah. With enough time, the symptoms of fasting will disappear by fasting. All right. Bear with me, girl. You are very, very welcome. Sending love and can't wait for the food festival. We're looking forward to seeing you soon, Martin. Tom and Jerry, caffeine coffee is good for your digestive system. My skin is glowing thanks to coffee. I feel very energetic. Actually, caffeine and coffee is good for nothing. Caffeine is a toxic stimulant. You are pushing substances out through your skin, which is why your skin is glowing. A lot of people do that. People drinking juices are often detoxing through the skin. So it looks like their skin is glowing. They think, oh, look how healthy I am. But their body is trying to get rid of stuff it can't get rid of otherwise. Okay. Every time you use stimulants, you wind up depleting your body's real energy. You wind up more depleted than you start. It's not good for anything. It's definitely not good for your digestive tract. I mean, I'm not saying that there's nothing beneficial about it. I'm saying that the negatives far outweigh the positives. Okay. We're meant to consume spring water. We're meant to consume whole, organic, fresh, ripe, juicy fruits, and we're meant to consume soft, tender, non-strong tasting leaves. And that's really about it. Not too much else. Occasionally nuts and seeds, but not much else. I like things. I left Instagram a long time ago due to the censoring. Yeah. Hello, and how can you strengthen the bile muscles? The bile muscles. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. The bile muscles, um, your bile is made by the liver, stored in the gallbladder, secreted into the top of the small intestine in the presence of dietary fat and when the body's cleansing. But I doubt anyone has to worry about strengthening any muscles around bile. I'm not talking, maybe you're talking about some other types of muscles, but I'm not sure what they would be because you're not telling me. You strengthen muscles by doing exercise, and you can build muscle by eating the diet that is optimal for the human body: fruit and soft, tender leafy greens. There's nothing else you need to build muscle. Okay, Houdini says, now I can hear you on YouTube. That's great. Good sound here. Good, good. I'm glad. Yeah, the sound problem was on Instagram. I actually closed down the Instagram because apparently I said something. This has happened several times. If you say something Instagram doesn't approve of, they just turn your sound off. Okay, that's what happens. Okay, I think what's better, a meal of raw nuts or steamed potatoes? Because I feel better after the potatoes. Yeah, I like Bear With Me Girl's question. Why not just do more fruit? Okay, I mean, you're asking me which is the lesser of two evils, because we shouldn't be eating nuts, meals of nuts and seeds. It's okay to eat a little bit of nuts and seeds, but if you're eating a lot of nuts and seeds, that's definitely not good for you. And if your body doesn't feel well after eating them, then you should be avoiding them. And no one should be eating cooked potatoes. Cooked foods are toxic. Cooking creates toxins and destroys nutrients. Your body reacts with an immune response every time we consume cooked food. So why don't you eat, as Bear With Me Girl suggests, why don't you eat more fruit? For me, I would eat another papaya, another mango, a little bit more watermelon. I would have a bigger salad. I mean, I wouldn't be eating cooked food or nuts with any regularity whatsoever. Okay. We have another super chat. Martha's here and says, have a wonderful weekend, with a $35 contribution. Martha, thank you so much. I appreciate that as always. I'm really glad to see you. I hope this has been powerful and beneficial for you so far. In fact, for all of you that are here now, I see 47 of you that are here, 23 thumbs ups. If you're here and think this is beneficial, or there's good stuff here, stuff other people would benefit from, that you're benefiting from, maybe you can give it a thumbs up as well. Okay, Luke says, hi, Loren, is coffee acidic? Some say it's alkaline forming, like acidic fruits. No, coffee is acid forming. Daphne Seacat says, what's your opinion on the absence of a menstrual cycle with females? Okay, so let's clarify, first of all, when you ask about the absence of a menstrual cycle, I think what you're talking about is actually the absence of any bleeding, the absence of any evidence that that there's anything happening. Chances are very good that you are still, I mean, if you're very underweight, you might not be fertile. And your body stops menstruating because it says there isn't enough reserves to carry a healthy pregnancy to term. And so it says, let's just not go there. And that's a positive thing if you're severely underweight or severely imbalanced in some other way. This is an intelligent choice that your body's making. However, there are healthy women, many healthy women. I've had many, many healthy female clients who stopped having any visible blood, or at least very much. In some cases, there might be a tiny bit of spotting, and that's it. And no premenstrual symptoms, none of the unpleasantness that occurs with a woman's period. People think, oh, if I'm not having a normal period, there's a problem. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, in fact, I don't know how many clients who were told by some doctor that they couldn't have a child because they didn't appear to be menstruating, and they have children. And that's happened. I've seen that over and over again. So if there's, again, we don't want to treat symptoms. So whether there's a menstrual, whether you're menstruating or not, that happens depending on the condition of the body. The thing to do is to focus on what's happening in the body. If you're undernourished, if you're underweight dramatically, if you're severely imbalanced, and your body intelligently says, okay, we're not going there. Yeah, great, intelligent, that makes sense. But the thing to do under those circumstances is to understand, do whatever you need to do to allow your body to become balanced, right? To bring itself back into balance. And so we focus on that. We focus on getting enough food. We focus on correcting any imbalances that might be there, getting the body hydrated. A healthy female body should have no problem with this. If there's an issue, then there's something that's not quite the way it should be. Okay, Kurt says, I'm tired of hauling 5-gallon spring water jugs, so I bought a Berkey carbon filter system and add trace mineral drops to each glass. Your thoughts? Okay. So first of all, I have to admit ignorance. It's been a long time since I looked at the Berkey system. I don't remember whether it removes chlorine and fluoride. So if you're in the US, most municipal systems add both chlorine to kill bacteria and fluoride for no good reason whatsoever, but it's toxic to you. And so most filtration systems do not remove these two chemicals. Okay. The only ones that do are distillate, as far as I'm aware, are distillation and reverse osmosis. Unfortunately, when we add mineral drops to water, it's not that those minerals are not in solution in the same way that happens when the minerals show up as part of the natural hydrological cycle. The rain falls, it goes into the ground, it comes back up, and as it's coming through the ground, it picks up trace amounts of minerals, but in a way that your body can deal with them, can work with them, can benefit from them. When we add something to the water, I'm not so sure that works very well. And if these are coming from any organics and interacts with this water as if it's food, which means it activates your digestive system. So this is why I say you need to drink spring water, and you do whatever you need to do to get spring water. Maybe the thing to do would, before too long, would be to move to a place where you have a clean spring, or close by. I mean, I have a friend who every 3 or 4 months will drive many hours sometimes to an amazing spring, get 100 gallons worth of water in as many containers as it requires, whatever the amount is, and live off that for several months. And you could do the same thing. I mean, maybe something you have to make a trek to get this need met, but there are few things more important than having clean water. And it's not just the cleanliness. It's you want water that doesn't contain garbage, but also hasn't had all of the minerals removed as distillation does, because that doesn't work. We don't want to be drinking pure water. We're meant to drink water with these inorganic minerals in it. That's what's natural to the body. Okay. Thank you. Bear with me, girl. Thank you so much for saying this. More women need to know this about the monthly bleeding. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Tom and Jerry says, I can't go to the restroom without drinking coffee. Why? Well, probably because you've got pounds and pounds of old hard waste in your system, and your system stopped working very well. No one should need coffee to have a bowel movement. I mean, I understand a lot of people rely on coffee to have bowel movements, but it shouldn't be necessary. Okay. I eat 2 meals a day, have 2 bowel movements a day, and don't need coffee to assist with that. You shouldn't need it either. If you fast long enough and properly with my guidance, I guarantee you'll clean the garbage out of your system without needing coffee. And then you'll be able to have regular bowel movements without any problem. Okay, that's what you want to get to with a properly working system without needing a toxic stimulant in order to make it work properly. Okay, Krasimir has made a 5 Bulgarian contribution. Thank you, Krasimir. I don't see a question here. So if you've got a question, go ahead and post it just below here. Otherwise, I'll assume there isn't one. Priate, I guess, says, what's the minimum number of days you would recommend for a fast? Well, each situation is different. So I can't really answer your question. I mean, generally speaking, I recommend a minimum of 21 days for most people. But there are people who come to me with conditions where they really need to fast at least 26 days or even 30 days. It just depends on what's going on. So without knowing anything about you or what's happening for you, I can't tell you how long you should fast. I can tell you that the maximum you should fast is 5 to 7 days without having experienced guidance. Okay, without having someone who really understands the process completely guiding you through it, you shouldn't be going more than 5 to 7 days. And it's not that 5 to 7 days is really okay. It's that there's a limit to how much damage you can do in 5 to 7 days. Okay, because it's one of these things that it's an amazing process and it's incredibly powerful and beneficial, but you can create problems. And I helped many people overcome issues they've created. I still get messages all the time from people saying, hey, I fasted on my own, I created issues, can you help me resolve them? Okay, so but yeah, I can't tell you how a minimum number of days because I'd have to know much more than that. There are people who, because they are super, super lean. I fasted a gentleman back in April who was 6 feet tall, 182, and weighed 101 pounds, which is around 46 kilos. I stopped him after 16 days. That was as long as he was able to go, okay, in my estimation. And so, I wouldn't say to him, the minimum is 21, you should keep going. We have to know a lot more about the specific situation before answering that question. It would be irresponsible for me to give a general, I will say, generally speaking, people benefit from doing 21 days, but each situation is different. Okay, so that doesn't apply to everyone. All right, Super Eric says, you say that cooked food creates acrylamide, which is created at 120 degrees Celsius. It means that steamed at 80 Celsius and boiled at 100 Celsius should not create acrylamide. Your opinion? First of all, acrylamide is only created when cooking carbohydrates. We don't create acrylamide with proteins and fats. It's cooking carbohydrates that creates acrylamide. And it's true that the higher the temperature, the more acrylamide is created. But I'm not so confident that there's no acrylamide created whatsoever. And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I believe we only create steam when the water begins to boil. So I think steam and boiling both occur at 100 degrees Celsius. And I believe there is the creation of small amounts of acrylamide at those temperatures. Obviously, frying, baking, these cooking methods, which create much higher temperatures than boiling or steaming, create far more acrylamide. But how much of a toxic substance do you want in your body? Okay. Again, I've polled thousands of clients, and every client who's spent at least a few weeks eating exclusively raw feels much worse upon consuming any cooked food whatsoever. Any cooked food. Doesn't matter the temperature, doesn't matter the cooking method. The body rejects all cooked food when it's clean enough. Okay. If there are people here eating cooked food every day, probably many of them, who feel fine and think it's perfectly fine. But that's because your body isn't capable of interacting with the stuff, reacting the way that it should. That happens when the body is clean enough. Okay. Houdini says, you're having an easy time obtaining plenty of fruit in the Dominican Republic, my mother country, right now. Yeah. It's funny. The first few days didn't have so much luck. I mean, I found plenty of fruit, but the quality for much of it was pretty mediocre. Yesterday, as I was heading back to a place where I knew I could get mediocre fruit, I encountered a guy who had a truckload. He was parked on the side of the road around the corner from here, and he had this whole truck loaded with fruits. And so watermelons, everything but papaya. We got watermelons, pineapples, mangoes, rolinias, passion fruits, avocados, sapote, bananas, all which he grows himself, all of which, the tomatoes, everything we tried so far, amazing. So yeah, I reported, I think yesterday morning to one of my team members back in Costa Rica. Yeah, the food quality has been pretty mediocre so far. Not anymore. We got some really amazing stuff yesterday afternoon. And so, and now I know where to find him. I've got his phone number. I should be hooked up for the next nearly 2 weeks that I'll be here. All right. Okay, super, Eric. Thanks so much for your comments. Probably, yep. I don't know what you're saying, T-Jor FO. Supreme Boy, what problems create to long fasting? Well, if you don't know what you're doing, you can create all kinds of problems. Flushing out electrolytes, making yourself dehydrated, ignoring warning signs. There's, I mean, literally all kinds of things happen when people don't know. It's a serious process going without food for weeks at a time. And, it's a completely natural process, completely natural, but it's lost to our culture. Very few people really understand it because, I mean, who do you know that's ever done a long fast? Very few people. And so, it's not like we all grew up with this. Okay. Can the body deal better with tropical and hot climate when it's clean? Yeah, absolutely. We're tropical animals. We're meant to be in the tropics. And a clean system has a lower body temperature. So when I'm out on a hot day here, it gets pretty hot here. I'm sweating far less than the average person because the people eating cooked food are walking around with a micrograde fever all the time. Okay, all the time. Can a 185 centimeter tall and 70 kilogram aged 45-year man fast 40 days? Thank you very much for your response. Yeah, I mean, in terms of your reserves, that's not a problem. I have fasted many people much longer than that with fewer reserves. Okay, I fasted a guy who was 192 and 70 kilos for 52 days. So 7 weeks and 3 days. Okay, so 42 days should be no problem. Again, assuming that you know what you're doing. That's really the key. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to get the same results. You really have to know what's happening. So I noticed that I'm down to just a couple minutes. Let me make just a couple of reminder announcements here for anybody that would still like to join us away from tomorrow. We have a pretty good group coming this year already, but we just do still have some space. I think there's still a few beds available, and of course we have space for tents as well. It's an amazing event. We'll have more than 50 varieties of organic fruit. Everyone has a great time. We spend a day at one of the most beautiful beaches in Costa Rica, happens to be our closest beach. We spend a day at the highest waterfalls in Central America. That's a long hike, but it's well worth it. We have we'll have an ecstatic dance. We'll have yoga classes every day, most days twice a day. We'll have tons of food. We've never run out of food. I know a lot of events. I've been to events where there wasn't enough food or certain types of things to go around. That never happens. We always order more than we need to. We'll have a couple of bonfires. We'll have there's a lot of great things happening. So that's something you might want to look into. If you are appreciating what I'm teaching, and would like to take your health to an amazing new level, you might want to check out the Academy for Vibrant Living.com. Right now, you can check out vibrantspecial.com. We have a special offer on right now, and it's on a course called Vibrant Health. There's also a health coaching course if you want to help other people. And you're going to see the best prices we'll ever offer right now. Okay. And we are still booking people for fasts for March, the end of March through early May, and then from mid-June to close to the end of August. For the first part of the next session, we are completely full. Okay, we don't have any space left. We're quickly booking up for March 26th to May 7th. So if you want to come then, you're going to want to make that happen as soon as you can. And if you're interested in working with me remotely, I do have the ability to do that. And right now I can start people almost immediately. Okay? So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and weekend. I'm going to sign off because I've got a call with a group of clients in just a couple minutes. What about Hippocrates Health Institute? They're not Warren many fruits. They're not, I don't know what that means. They don't recommend eating fruit. Yeah, well, they're wrong. What can I say? They don't know what they're talking about. They're trying to sell you a program that you can't do in your own at home. You don't need to go there to eat. You can eat nature's perfect foods for our bodies are fruits and soft, tender leafy greens. Period. End of story. Um, hello, Jonas. Good to see you here. Gino says, what about interstitial cystitis? I have this condition for about 4 years. Do you think water fasting is key? Water fasting is always the way to allow your body the optimal conditions to cleanse and heal. If your body can heal from interstitial cystitis, it's going to be the very best way to do it. There is no better way to heal the body. Okay, the body's self-healing. Fasting allows us to get out of the body's way so it can cleanse and heal as well as possible. If it were me, I'd be fasting. If I were you, I'd be private messaging me to talk about how we can get you fasted. Okay, because you're unlikely to see anything else going on. All right. If there's any, Angry Minpin says, if there's any durian, someone watch Loren before he overdoses. I will jump on a durian if I see one. That's probably true. All right. So folks, again, thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you think this is beneficial to you, let's go ahead and give it a thumbs up, please. Also, remember, you can share the link on your page, on your profile, on your channel, wherever you like. If you can help anyone, else by sharing this information, that would be a beautiful thing to do. All right, folks, listen, have a fantastic weekend. I'll look forward to seeing you same time next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.